Hello, hello, hello. It is Sketchy Monday nights.
Sketchy Live Monday, the podcast.
What? Again?
Yes,
What?
again. Guys, gals, army, people, citizens of the world, citizens of the custom culture, car culture, hot rod community.
Yes.
I implore you, something crazy has happened. If you've been under a rock, you've probably missed it. But one of the most iconic hot rods ever built. Well, not the most, but one of the most iconic hot rods ever built has been found after 50 years of being missing. We plan to talk about it. We're going to talk about the uncertainty. We're going to talk about the culture. How do we fix it? How do we keep this from happening again? What do we do? How do we stop it? ity-b is more going to talk about all kinds of different stuff. We got gifts that were sent to us. We got all kinds of stuff. I'm Johnny Jalopy, hot rod artist. That is ity-b, my main squeeze and wife. My number one. You've made it to Sketchy Live, the podcast. This is that's us.
And we're going to start in just a minute.
In just a minute, so hold on to your hats.
We'll see you in a sec.
Sketchy Live, you've made it to the Sketchy Live podcast.
So you were going to draw tonight initially. We talked about it last week.
Wow, just jumping right into it.
But we had one of our viewers, Vucky is it VBX?
That's what is
but
he comes on. Sure. But he comes on here.
He does. He usually tunes in from YouTube.
Yeah, so we'll have to look and see what Vucky's full name on this here in our YouTube stuff and all that kind of stuff. Hey, again, just to remind you, this is Sketchy Live, the podcast. I'm John Jalopy, hot rod artist, pseudo fabricator, doodle hack, all that kind of good stuff. That is my lovely wife, beautiful, talented ity-b. You've made it to one of the fun, interactive podcast live sketching shows that we do every single Monday night at 9:30 right here on Facebook and YouTube Live.
Right. So this past week,
babe, oh my gosh, go ahead.
This past week we got this email and Johnny brought it to my attention. He said, I really think that this is something that we need to discuss. This is right on the heels of a huge find. So I've heard of the uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
You've drawn the uncertainty.
Have drawn.
I didn't really know any of the history about it. Still don't know a huge amount, but I did just watch a video that you had me take a look at. Was posted on YouTube?
Yes. So that was the guys who actually are now in ownership of the uncertainty. So if you're in the culture, you are in the know. You know what the uncertainty is. It is one of the top hot rods that has been missing in action for more than 50 years.
Crazy.
And unlike most show cars that came in and kicked butt and won all kinds of awards and set the culture on fire, it was a daily driver. It would go down the drag strip. It was a running, working show car, race car. Unbelievable. Where most
for a period of only a couple of years,
a very short period of time,
short time,
mm-hmm.
and then just gone,
then just disappears off the face.
People
of the planet.
Didn't know why. They didn't know where it
there's
went.
There's a lot of speculation, scuttlebutt. There's all kinds of backstories. This is one of those. Yes, this is one of those cars that has an allure, has a almost like a ghost story-ish kind of thing where it's not. You know, everybody knows who the owner and builder was, and from the beginning, people have interacted with us, with the go ahead and name it because I printed out for you out of a great. If you get
Steve Scott.
Steve Scott was the builder and designer. Does it say the name of that website? Because it's a great website.
This is Customrama.
Custorama, is that what it is?
Yeah, customrama.com.
Yes. Okay. So if you want to know about the Kulture, custom cars, history on it, this is a great website to go to because they great articles. They go back and they try to get as much pictures, photos, and then kind of compile them all into a section that is one specific car or a specific car builder, and it'll have tons of information. It's like the Wikipedia for hot rod people, but
that's what they call it.
Really great information.
Yeah, really good information. And I mean, I've just skimmed over this, but
yeah,
it seems like from start to finish on what happened.
So 1965, it hits the show car scene. It makes it to, I believe, the Winter Nationals in Pomona, wins the prestigious award that is there, goes on to Oakland, beats the likes of Barris, Roth. All the big names get beat by this car. It goes on, then it goes to the Oakland like a drag, and goes to a drag strip and drags. Then it goes to another car show and dominates at that. So for multiple years, I believe it dominates the show car circuit, just destroying every car that it goes up against because it is just such out of the box thinking for its time. You know, Ed Roth had all the asymmetrical and all that kind of stuff, but this was just so weird. Like the weird thing about it is it's such an ugly car, but it's so gorgeous. It's so ugly, but it's gorgeous. Like it's amazing.
It's like the Cabbage Patch Kids were back in the day. Ugly, but so cute.
But they were worth a lot of money in this car. So it's been missing for many, many years. So many people have been trying to find it. So that's the main topic of what we're going to talk about tonight. We're also going to talk about how do we keep other cars from this happening, or what are some big ones that you've heard of that are missing and still you wish you could see again. Kind of thing. Let's talk about it. Such a great subject.
And why?
So let's go ahead and hear who's on the broadcast, because this is an interactive podcast. Without you, we have no podcast that is this cool. So who's here?
And it's a Monday night without football tonight.
No football.
Right?
Yeah,
so
we had
what else are you going to do? You might as well.
Hey, you might as well be hanging out.
We've got Lizzie Daughtry joining us tonight. Hello, my two favorite people on Monday night.
Hello.
Thank you.
Just on Mondays.
Just Mondays.
Tuesdays coming. She's like, I hate that giant Jalopy ity-b.
Terry Lund is joining us. Welcome, sir.
What's up, Terry?
Lizzie is posting her YouTube channel, Miss Butterfree 34. Go check it out. She does some resin goodies over there.
Resin.
David from YouTube says, "How's it going? I like everything you do."
Oh, thanks, Dave.
Or
David. Thank you very much.
Cool.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Everything?
Terry Lund said, "Sorry about Mama."
Oh,
dude.
Thank you so much.
We're still
appreciating all the incoming
getting cards
stuff for my mom passing, and just thank you guys all so much.
We've got 40 Mamba joining us. George the Glass Man is tuned in.
Nice, George the Glass Man. I bet he knows about that. Go ahead.
I've been looking at his stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
cool stuff, right?
Yes, it just makes me want to go do that glass blowing class again. We did one and it was fun, and I broke my wine glass. We did blue wine glasses.
Blue bloods.
Jim Pollen joining us. So we'll
Hobo's Hot Rod Garage.
Chat about
we'll
that
talk about
for a
that.
sec. Yeah.
Yep.
Hello everyone from Hobo's Hot Rod Garage. Louvered panels look great. I'm honored to have my work on the Kona 5.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. They're working out great.
We've got Frank Pupello joining us from YouTube. Hey kids, it's time for Sketchy Live. Hurry or you will miss the show. Yeah, we are going to try and limit this to just the hour tonight.
Well, you got a lot to talk about. We'll see.
We'll see. We've got Bob Frizz joining us. Hi guys. Shaboom. Can't wait to see him in a couple more weeks.
Yes.
Him and the Fight Masters. We've got Tanya Fight Master joining us tonight. Hey gang. See you soon, girl.
Yes.
We've got Chongo NorCal.
What's
Hello,
up, Chongo?
Beautiful people. Always a pleasure to have you.
One of my, I would say, in the all-times favorites names to say. It's first it was Shia LaBlanc, and then of course Chongo NorCal.
George is tuning in on YouTube and Facebook. Appreciate that, and let me tell you why. Our YouTube
viewership is going up, and we sure appreciate all your support.
Thank you so much for that.
One day we'll be monetized.
Yes, one day.
I got to get busy.
One day we'll be big boys.
I've been putting shorts on, and it just doesn't seem to be doing anything. I guess I read that wrong.
Yeah. Howard Pierpont joining us, 54 and partly cloudy in Mineola, Texas tonight. Always a pleasure to have you on, Howard. Jim McMillan joining us. Hey guys, 42 degrees in Magna, Utah.
Chile.
Unseasonably warm for us. He said that's warm. Hope you guys are doing well. God bless. Bless you, sir. Dave said, woo, I made it. SoCal. Thanks for tuning in.
Nice.
We've got Nicole Ferguson of the Ferg's Hot Rod Shop.
We always like a Ferguson showing up.
Her and her husband Scott doing some cool stuff up there in Detroit. Can't wait to get up there. We've got G Moore joining us. Good evening, all. Tuning in from YouTube. Thank you.
The tube.
And there he is. Shagalabalong. Can't wait to see you too. Man, we are just going to have a ball in a month. I don't know if you caught it this past week, but we did secure our flight up there. So it's pretty much done deal.
It's on like Donkey Kong.
It's a done deal. Jim McMillan also watching on both Facebook and YouTube. We appreciate that.
Fantastic.
There's Scott Ferguson.
Welcome.
That's Sick Dodge.
That's right.
Michael Williams. Hello,
Huge
everybody.
show winner.
Hello, everybody. I've missed you. I see Johnny 5 is nearly done. I hope you found a use for the colored plexi that I gifted you. It is Kona 5.
It's tucked away, and we are the plans are we're going to definitely be using the back windows for the color stuff. Yep.
Yes, we're excited to implement that.
Implementation.
Lizzie gave us thumbs up on our YouTube channel. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Ralph Pop Sanchez, howdy y'all from chill San Antonio, Texas.
Nice. That's like my third favorite there. Ralph Pop Sanchez.
I should just call him Pops. We've got Cam McNulty joining us.
Hello, me Dora.
On the broadcast tonight, but live here in the studio in a couple weeks. She's coming to visit.
Hey, we'll have to have her on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Chongo said my 67 VW Bug, LOL.
Nice.
Diane Kinnery, hi Johnny and ity-b. Good to see you too. Tuning in from YouTube.
What's going on?
Perfect. So that's catching us up for the moment,
guys. The uncertainty has been found, and again, if you don't know what the uncertainty is, if you're not a car person, or you haven't, or you've been if you've been under a rock, it's such an amazing car. Wow. What an idiot! I didn't pull pictures of it, but I only assume
the one job you had.
Yeah. I would assume that everybody knows what the car looks like and stuff. So it's
while you're looking, let me just catch people up on iconic. What some of the information from this article. So what started as a cartoon of a wild hot rod, this is sounding familiar.
Yeah.
And a teenage dream in 1960 went on to become one of the most famous and mysterious show rods of all time. So he was Steve Scott was 17 years old.
Yep.
With this idea and building, and it looks like the first show you said was 1965, so maybe
65
took him about 5 years to maybe get it done and get it to.
Well, they say he started building at 17, finished it at 18.
Oh, okay. So then maybe it was just a couple years later.
Yeah, that
he had it at the show. The Uncertainty won the Sweepstakes Hot Rod Award from under George Barris's nose. So there you go. This was a unique design. And it was ready to roll. It wasn't something that was just a show car, like Johnny said. It was something that he was driving. I am going to sneeze, so go ahead.
Don't do that. Doesn't.
Take it away.
Take it away.
Say something while I'm sneezing.
Gesundheit.
And I can imagine for you, somebody who had a design idea and then watch that idea be built, even though you weren't maybe as hands-on with that idea, still your concept, still your idea for the original Johnny 5 that we know Ian Russell from Full Custom Garage worked up in his shop over there and got that thing rolling for you.
Do you see my screen?
Yeah.
So there it is. That was it in its prime. Unbelievable.
So cool. Just the stance on it. I remember when you drew it, I was like, how is anyone I didn't see the actual photo of it. Yeah. So when you drew it, I was like, well, this is a cool concept.
It is amazing.
And it was something somebody else had already come up with. So
yeah,
pretty cool stuff. What about the engine? Does it give us the engine specs on this?
Nailhead, big monster.
It looks pretty
distributor
massive
and stuff like that. And again, it was built to race and drag.
It says fiberglass body.
Yep.
Let's see.
But it was an amazing
fuel injected nailhead.
Nailhead motor. So kind of a rare motor that would, you know, a lot of hot rod guys want a nailhead, and it's just such a cool, neat valve cover straight up. So when you're looking at the car's aesthetics, you know, it's other than the, you know, off position, off angle cab, everything is very vertical. So the nailhead is a perfect valve cover, so they're straight up. Then he goes to the, I think it's Hillebrand injectors, velocity stacks, and then you've got these really sick zoomy headers that come out the side. It's just an unbelievable car. And then of course, look at the wheel choice was amazing. I think Hillebrand as well. Just phenomenal. And then the paint is this really rich, orangey red metallic paint job that just, you know, was amazing. And so you can only imagine, you know, the cars going up against it were, you know, things that
hydro orange flake is what they called it.
And so it's been found. So gentleman, Steve Scott owned it for a while, had made some connections with the model company, same thing, like kind of like they did with Ed Roth. I think the model situation didn't go as planned, so royalties and things didn't go as planned. In that ad, you see that there was actually an advertisement where he was selling it. So as custom cars go, they go for sale, and then someone buys them for an inexpensive price, or maybe an expensive price, and then they go missing. And then for the longest time, as far as the Kulture is concerned, we were looking for it, trying to find it. Everybody was wondering who had it, where was it. And according to the information that was on, you know, the little video that I saw, the guys from Galpin, is that the gentleman that bought it from the original owner or the original builder hid it. Like as soon as he heard the heat was coming from other people trying to find the car, he would move it to a new location so they couldn't see it. Wow. And then as soon as that would happen, he'd move it to another new location because he knew what he had. But you know, I'm sure it had big plans of being valuable and something. But you know, when you see, if you get an opportunity to go to the YouTube channel, little cool 8-minute video that shows it being found and the condition it is when they pull up the tarp over it. And the cool thing is, from what I understand, is the gentleman that bought the car was one of the builders that worked for Galpin with the original owner's dad, or Galpin, the current owner of Galpin's owner's dad, that built this really cool Ford Mustang 4-engine machine. And that's the guy that owned it. Well, I guess in this recent years, he was like, if I'm going to sell it, I'm going to sell it to this guy. Found out that gentleman, he had sent him a letter saying, hey, and the letter went missing. And then basically found out that the gentleman found out that the guy's son, who now owns Galpin, is still doing the car thing and restoring a lot of these iconic cars. He got a hold of him, and that's why he sold it to to them, is because of this relationship that the guy had years past with the gentleman. What was his name again? I always forget his
Dave.
No.
Oh, Bo Beckman.
Bo Beckman's dad had such a good relationship with him, and he was such an honest guy and a fair guy, that this guy was like, this is like the people I want to have this car. So and now it's back. So I just heard, so their plan was, when the video was made, which was a couple weeks ago, it was going to make it to the Pomona
swap meet.
No, damn it, I think it's the Pomona show. I think it's the Roadster, Most Beautiful Roadster show. And then the scuttlebutt is that it's supposed to make another appearance, its next appearance to the public, at the Detroit Autorama,
which we will be at.
Yes. So this car that, for me, in my start as an artist and getting into the Kulture, was the first car that I was like, oh, this thing is amazing, and fell in love with and drew a lot of. And to tell a little story, the builder and original owner contacted me, and we had conversations over the phone about my drawings and his car and different stuff. And so I got to speak to the guy that built that car, and I couldn't believe it. Called me, I think he was in Hawaii at the time, and he called me, and we had a few conversations back and forth about my drawing and maybe working together on some stuff. And this is early on in my thoughts of even doing this as a possible side hustle.
Dog Patch Fab said, yes, let's talk uncertainty. Lizzie said, bless you when I sneezed. Diane Kennery said, Buick Nailhead V8.
Yep.
Jim McMillan said, is that a long sleeve Johnny Jalopy shirt you're wearing?
It is.
It is. We did not roll these out on the website. Probably needed for our fan base.
Who knew
north.
this winter was going to be so cold?
Yeah. So it may be something that we delve into for future, but yes, it is. We can pretty much customize anything because, as you know, our shirts are not screen printed. We do have transfers, which allows them to be put on anything.
Yeah.
So Michael Williams said the Leaning Tower of Tea.
Yeah.
Dog Patch Fab said, talk with Steve many times over the years now while building my clone. So glad the original is back and we'll get to see it in Detroit.
Yeah, that's a cool thing too. So there's been a lot of people that aren't so immersed in the culture that have said, when it was missing, I've seen that car before. And what you've seen and those people have seen is there are probably, I don't know how many, Dog Patch probably could tell us for sure, being that he's a guy that's building a clone as well. How many different varieties? I think there was a company at one time, Arizona or somewhere out west,
selling kits
that Scott had told me. Oh, I was in with these guys, and they were selling an unauthorized version of it, and there have been other guys that have built tall tees with the lean forward deal in different ways. But there are a lot of guys that take the model kit and have reverse engineered them to figure out the specs, because again, there's no real photos, or you can't go to, like, there's some guys building a clone of the Tweety Pie right now. Mad Fabricators is building a Tweety Pie clone, and they could go to the one at Galpin and take measurements and look at the way things were, because the original was there. And if you wanted to build a clone off the original, you could go and look at the real one.
Mm-hmm.
These guys who are building these uncertainty clones have been just reverse engineering, which, wow, off of model kits, which the model kits are rare as that goes.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of guys have built them off of pictures and what they think. Some have found models, and which are rare and very expensive, and have looked at them and taken measurements off that and scaled up, which is like, wow, you got to be really good at math to do that.
For real. It definitely is a sought after design for sure.
Yeah, and we could talk about the car itself for so long, and there's so much stuff going on with the car. I'm so excited to see it in person. Now, it's going to be in its unrestored state, which is going to be crazy.
That video that we just watched was only just posted recently,
a couple weeks ago.
So are they planning to have it restored, or it's coming to the show?
No, so its first round is going to be showing everybody, hey, look, here it is. We found it.
Scott said Grand National Roadster Show. Is that the one in Pomona you were talking about?
Maybe it was, yes. Okay. Yeah. And so they are going to show it in its found state first, so everybody can see what it looked like before it gets touched. It's in a gold color right now, but it's in fiberglass, but you can see areas where the layers of paint and maybe fiberglass, where you can see that orangey red
coming through it.
And but you look at all the things that are there, it's the real deal type thing. So it's pretty amazing. And so again, what the reason why we wanted to talk about this, because it's not just, it has been found, and okay, so now it's not that it's over, the search is over. But as we stated in the comments and at the beginning of the thing, this Vucky contacted me, and I don't know if it was specifically based on this uncertainty information, and he had talked about some other cars that have been found, barn finds and stuff like that. And he goes, how does this happen?
Yeah.
How does this happen? And I said, well, I can give you a first-hand account how this happens. The Johnny 5 is now in Canada with the person that had Ian Russell build it. And last I heard, it was in pieces. So this car that was seen at Pomona at a swap meet one time back when we did the TV show, right? Goes into a car trailer and goes to Canada, goes into the guy's garage, Mark's garage, and has never been seen again.
And it's been 10 years.
And other than
Almost,
photos I've
probably.
posted, photos Ian's posted,
9 years.
drawings all my drawings and artwork, fan art, builds and Hot Wheels, and there's pedal cars and that have been built on the Johnny 5 about the Johnny 5. The real car has never been seen since it's been built.
Somebody is going to be doing a podcast.
Space Junkie 2.
50 years from now.
Space Junkie 2, built on TV, seen. We saw it at SEMA a couple years ago. When's the last time you seen it? Before that. Well, it was at Barrett Jackson. It sold. A collector bought it. It's in his personal collection. And unless that collector decides to show it to the public, it becomes a personal collection, like a deer head to some collectors. But guys like a Bob Frizz collects them, drives them, lends them to museums. The cars still get to be seen, right? So there's different styles of collectors. But when it all comes down to, you could take any beautiful, amazing, how many Riddler Award winning cars do we know where they all are?
Yeah.
Every single Riddler winner. I bet you the Riddler builders probably may still have it. I bet some have let some of them go. What happens?
And then who knows? This is how hot rods end up in fields.
Yeah, exactly. It's how we have barn finds. And so if one of Vucky's questions is how do we keep that from happening? Well, how we keep it from happening, Johnny Jalopy's opinion is that you got to keep the new people coming in to understand that old doesn't mean obsolete. Old designs, old technology, we don't look at it and go, it's irrelevant now. Because if we took that stance, the uncertainty itself in the ways things were built, designed in comparison to current show cars, it's completely obsolete. But why is it such an allure? Well, it's been missing. But how do we keep it from becoming missing again? How did the Orbitron end up? Ed Ross, amazing, asymmetrical, amazing hot rod, model, Hot Wheel, all that stuff becomes a bathtub or a dumpster in Tijuana, Texas. Because at some point, the person that built it finds no more value in it, not on purpose. Sometimes it funds the next build, or you just go, Ian's that way sometimes. I'm bored with it. I'm ready to move on. It happens. But how does the next person that grab it not let it go to turn into garbage? Well, it takes someone to see the value in it, and not all cars are seen as valuable anymore.
We have one sitting in our driveway.
It's not the same.
It kind of is.
Not the same. It's not the same.
It's not the same because it's not
the same level.
No.
It's not the same
But
level.
I'm saying, as far as the thought process of here's something new, setting that aside, what happens is these cars get set aside because there's a new project or there's something else going on, or whatever the case may be. And it can go by the wayside. These cars, unless garaged their entire lives, are going to be affected by the elements.
Look at the car that we have sitting in front of the Beatnik Bandit. There are currently a couple clones being built. And I want to say, I've seen, there was supposedly one in Vegas, and who has I think Galpin might have the original Beatnik Bandit. But it's it's us, the lovers of that car, that keep it from being destroyed. And at some point in the time of like Orbitron's life, the Kulture itself said it's not relevant anymore because there's this new one that got built. And, oh man, did you see the billet aluminum bubble, blah, blah, right? Or you got into the early days of Boyd Coddington, Chip Foose kind of starting the whole trend into the street rod movement. And a lot of the traditional hot rods got put away. Thank God that there's guys out there that are going out and seeking those old traditional hot rods and saving them. But then there are old traditional hot rods that get saved, but then the guy that buys it goes, I wanted to make it my own. I want to change it. It's a tough deal. It's a real tough deal, especially when you're, as a hot rod person, you're like, it'd be cool to have that car, but it's not, you still go but that's that guy's car. It's not my car.
What I think is interesting, and
It's
this
such
happens,
a slippery slope.
This happens with trends, and we're seeing it a lot in fashion now, where we're going backwards, and the flare bottoms are coming back. The flare leg, it's all coming around. And even I can remember just a couple of years ago, I saw something. What's that?
Go ahead.
I saw a car and I was like, oh, that kind of looks like an old car. And you're like, no, that's a new car. So even some of the vehicle trends are flashing back to early models.
Sure. There's a lot of that going on right now with SUVs and four-wheel drives. A lot of, like, the Broncos made a new resurgence. Ford Mustang is, keeps harkening back to the old 65, 66 days, those kinds of things. Yeah.
So maybe we're headed back to a time where people are going to be like, where did this design come from? Maybe they look at older stuff.
So again, ity-b, I would love to make something clear. So we're not talking about modern vehicles and the technologies that are being built.
I understand that.
We're talking about show cars, which is a niche group. Not everybody, and including yourself, to a certain time had an idea of any of these things. But the people that are in the know are the ones that we got to count on. And as new people come in, like you, who are learning things about the culture and about the history, look at what you've now uncovered about the uncertainty that just got found. Did you know it's been missing?
I did not. I assumed it was somewhere out there. You know what? I never gave it thought as to where it was.
And that's probably half the battle too. Yeah. Some people assume, oh, I'm sure that car's doing fine.
I didn't think about the well-being of the car.
We're not asking enough questions of, like, where did this car go? But then there are situations to where, again, we'll have to get to the comments because we don't want to leave people out. You get to points where, like, look at a Gene Winfield who's built amazing cars for movies and television and all these kinds of things. And some of those cars get saved because people find value in it, and other cars just become dumpsters. And it's sad because they were an icon at one time. Look at the General Lee's, 250 of them were made, half of them destroyed. It makes you go, well, yeah. Or the Knight Rider, or, just looking at look at all these movie cars that we've, where's the original Blues Brothers car? Do we know? The family truckster, somebody just recently redid the truckster, the Echo One, the Ghostbusters car, but these are TV movie cars. The original Batmobile sold for millions of dollars, and there are people that get new Batmobiles all the time, which is okay. That's great. But what happens if one day the person that bought that Batmobile, right, that's sitting in his collection, and he goes to his kid who could care less about cars, and he goes, my collection is yours. And that kid goes, I'm selling all of it because I don't care.
Yeah.
Happens.
It does happen.
Sucks.
More than not. Alan Romero is joining us. Saludos desde Argentina. Welcome from Argentina. Bienvenidos. Jason Michael Elias. The Jasons are checking in from Eastern Long Island. We are sorry for your loss, and we'll keep you guys in our thoughts.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Jim McMillan said, I so want one of the long sleeves. As I said earlier, it's unseasonably warm at 42 right now. It's normally in the single digits in the morning, and we get a high of around mid-20s. So see, I do need a long sleeve shirt. Well, it sounds like it's warm enough for a tank top, so maybe we'll send you one of those. Matt Williams is joining us. Good evening, Sketchy. I just happened upon some online pics of uncertainty a few days ago. Yeah, it's been buzzing. It's been trending.
Yes.
Jim Monroe, what's up, Johnny? Watching from Carmel, Indiana.
Nice.
Welcome.
Thanks so much.
We've got Art Smith, Close Cut, joining us.
What's up, my brother?
What's happening, folks? I told you nobody wants my junk either.
That's not true.
He's got a lot of stuff.
But hey, listen, a great example. One man's treasure.
Yes.
Or not one man's junk. Here's his dad's, truck growing in a tree, but goes out and saves it. So now what happens is he's brought his dad's truck back to life, and what happens now?
Yeah.
Just
hopefully he's still driving it.
And like you said, there's Raquel. These are the non-iconic cars, but we're talking about
this
the
is
icons,
what happened.
man.
But this is what happens.
I get it.
It can happen to any car.
Sure.
No car is safe
because it goes back to, unless the next generation or the next fans coming in see the value of what we're talking about, the uncertainty will go missing again.
Yeah.
because if the guy that owns it now, why do I keep forgetting his name? Bo. If Bo's family, next generation, doesn't see the value in those cars that Galpin has collected, what happens?
What happens then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of beautifully restored, iconic cars in that collection. Look at the Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. All those have probably been family situations where family was like, oh, we'd rather give it to the museum because maybe they'll save it. And then it goes into the underground deal, and maybe it makes it out to the public. Maybe it doesn't. But if people aren't interested, there's so much push for electric and get rid of combustion engine and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're forgetting that without these iconic builders and designers of the culture, you wouldn't have aerodynamic cars and Mustangs and race cars the way you do without the people who love the automotive industry.
Innovators.
Or innovators. Yes. Yeah.
Calm down. Take a breath.
Just,
Take a breath. Wiley Vincent's joining us. Hello to you both from San Jose, but in Missouri visiting family. Have a wonderful time with them. Rob Earl is joining us. Hey there, Johnny and ity-b. Just pulled into your broadcast. This is a great topic for discussion too. Hope you're doing well. Cheers from the Hunter Valley, Australia.
Hey,
down under.
Welcome.
George said flashback to cool. We've got Mike Hicks on the broadcast.
Yes.
We'll be seeing you in a couple weeks. He said, I believe Harris still has the original Beatnik Bandit, fully restored to original color.
That's what I'm saying. So there are,
Good to hear. So at least it's original color.
Well, it's
still,
looking. But here's what's scary. It's at a casino.
Yeah.
Where at any moment money changes hands and that casino gets destroyed, and suddenly that car that the casino sees value in, nobody, and then it just gets, I hope that doesn't happen.
Howard Pierpont said many years after American Graffiti, the cars, while interesting, were not really show worthy, so no one saw them. Cindy Williams then became a headliner at Sacramento with one of the cars in the early 2000s.
Yeah, look at that. Like, for instance, that 49 Merc that was in that movie. I think there's a guy that's got the Merc now, or maybe it's a clone, and they built it as close to but stuff there's stuff that was built for movie and TV that realistically was thrown together type stuff. And I think the Coyote, I think it's called the Coyote car that was in Hardcastle McCormick, the original sick kit car that was built, that was changed and modified, it got destroyed. Mm-hmm. And then they tried to do a new season where they built one that was off this company that started making bodies that kind of looked like it, and they were and it kind of changed, and then that one got messed up. There's so many cars where that's the story. But again, in the moment, is there value in the car?
Yeah. Is
there value in it now?
It's dependent on the eye of the beholder.
But yes, that's part of it too. And I'm still gonna keep going back to, if we don't continue to make sure, if you got young kids out there, or boys and girls, who cares? The only way this culture is going to stay alive is we got to make sure that the information continues on. This is a part of our history. This is a part of it's a part of not just American history, but it's a big part of American history, but it's a big part of the car history in general. Look at, we've got followers from all over the world. Why are they here? Because they love cars. Mm-hmm. They love things to do with cars, and they have a passion somewhere for a specific car. And if we don't remember where they started and where we came from, then everything just becomes,
it gets lost. It all gets lost.
It just becomes just a big thing that nobody cares about.
Richard Hahn is joining us from Alpena. Welcome, sir. Appreciate you joining us.
I don't know why that place always sounds so funny to me. Alpena.
We've got Tracy Cordfield joining us. Hello, my friends. It's a cold 22 degrees here in Rocky Mount, Virginia, with snow forecasted for tomorrow night. Johnny, again, I'm so sorry for your loss. I know what it's like to lose a mother.
You, my friend. Yep.
God is picky, and he chose your mother to be by his side. Much love to you both.
Appreciate you.
We are all going to be with God at one point. I can't wait. Close cut again, Art Smith. And he said, and I kicked myself for not being able to grab those W-2.
Oh my God. There was what he's talking about is at one time Art had an opportunity. He was at an estate sale where someone was selling two 49 Mercs for like $2,000. And they were like in pretty good shape.
Art, I would have taken one off your hands.
Yeah, whatever. You didn't have the money, first of all, and that's the problem. There was not money at the time or time to get back to where he was at. It was like way out in the boonies somewhere. But oh my gosh, I said the same thing. Like, oh, dude. And he himself every time thinks about it. Oh my God, I could have had.
There'll be more opportunities when you're ready. Those opportunities will come back. Brad Palmer said, "Fat bastard says nearly missed it again. Damn timelines. It's Tuesday here. We appreciate you checking in.
I need to start. Okay, I'll have to start posting. Welcome to Monday night and also Tuesday if you're in another country."
Scott said, "LOL. I've got a driveway full of next ones to get forgotten." You know what? It's as a couple
we are a couple
who had the idea of having a project. It's very time consuming. And if you have multiple projects, which, Scott's, he's working on a ton of stuff.
Lots of them.
Bob's got a ton of stuff. They've all got a ton of stuff going on. Ron, I mean, it is
time consuming.
It's time consuming and it's hard to, which one do you do?
Yep. And
then maybe all of your efforts go into the one and the other one's sitting. And then you're like, I'm just going to get rid of it. Like I know it's not the same, but I think about Raquel all the time sitting out front because we're on the fence about selling it. We're on the fence about maybe doing something with it.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to get sold, but what if it gets sold to somebody who really embraces it as a project and gets it to a wonderful state of,
and I'll be sad and I'll be happy at the same time.
Right. But then what if it just rots in our front yard? Like, I feel like that's what's happening.
It's already what's happening.
Yeah.
But again, that's there's the plight of projects in general. So it's a different level down from what we're talking about. But it is the same thing, barn finds and all that kind of stuff. And gosh, let's bring up a poor subject to talk about one more time. So as losing my mom, this is the thing. The things that are valuable to some aren't always valuable to the next person. So, I think about these giant collections, and it's great that the folks that have money and can get these big collections going. And the private collecting part I get, but there's a part of me, personally, I've never really understood the get it and then just to get it thing and not want to get it to drive it.
Right.
And I know the value drops when you drive it, but at the same time, the value drops as I get it. And there's the risk and all that stuff. But gosh darn it, an automobile is to be driven.
Barbies.
Barbies. What about them?
Same thing. People would get them. People would buy dolls because they were worth money, and they'd sit in a box.
Listen.
And I'm like, why are you not playing with it?
I remember if I had all the Hot Wheels I had as a kid, because when I was one of the things my parents, since I was a little boy, 1 year old, started the tradition. For my first Christmas, Hot Wheel. Second Christmas, Hot Wheel. Third Christmas, 2 Hot Wheels. So for up until recently, my mom gave me Hot Wheels. So every Christmas, I've always gotten Hot Wheels. Now imagine if I had collected all those and kept them pristine. Guess what Johnny did? Rip the package open and you play with them. Just like
how irresponsible.
Every single die-cast metal car I've ever bought in the store or whatever, I don't have any that are in a box. There's one right now.
Models. You've done all of your models.
There's a few models I have boxed up, but then I'm not saving them because I'm saving them. I'm saving because I just haven't had time to open them up and build them. But like the only die-cast I have in a box right now is a really cool gift I got sent to me, and we're going to talk about that, is a Christmas gift that was brought to me just recently. Those cool vans I posted. But those will be opened and they will be hanging because I'm not saving them for the value. I'm saving them because I see the pleasure in them and touching them. And Look at my beating a bandit.
Mhm.
You don't think I listen? I'm gonna. It's the truth. I'll just sit sometimes at the counter while she's cooking dinner, and I'll just pretend I'm driving. It's the closest I'm going to get to getting the beating bandit.
That's not true. You
But,
may one day, man. You
So
may.
anyways.
You never know.
What are they saying out there? Anybody else?
Yes, Corey.
Let's hear your opinions on the subject.
Corey Siebert, the louvers are going to look good.
Oh, thanks, man.
We got one in today. I say we. Johnny got one in today.
It was a struggle.
Yeah, but it looks good. Pretty much what you envisioned.
What I envisioned, yes.
Ian gave you some tips for installation.
Sure did. Yep. Gave me a bunch of tips. I asked a bunch of questions, and he left me hanging. But then I was like, I'm thinking he's doing it to push me.
Yeah.
He's doing it.
He's testing.
He's not answering back because he's busy, and he's like, "Figure it out, dude. Figure it out. I gave you the push. Come on.
Now it's all you.
Go figure it out."
We've got Jay Newby joining us. What's up, guys? Jay, we will see you in a couple weeks as well.
Wash out, Newby.
Art says 249 Mercs slip through our hands. What a continuous nightmare, people. We've got Joe Lombardo joining us. Hello, late from New Jersey. We welcome you to the broadcast. Always a pleasure.
Pizza pie.
George said, on a different note of cars, during the Pro Street movement, I saw many historic Willys gassers get the history sanded off and slammed to the ground, and it made me sick.
Yeah. Well, it's that's what I'm saying. So there are history built, so that there's a hard part, right? Like when you look at race cars, as it changes hands, like I said, look at me. You don't think when Roger, built the Bug the way it was and painted it the way it was. Well, he did say he liked the fact that I changed it, but there's probably a part of him that was like, dude, you didn't like how I had it, and I was like, no, I want to do it my way.
You did like how he had it. That's what the lure was initially.
I liked.
But then
I was like also
changed.
but I was also like, let me put a little bit of my stank on it, and we'll make it
little bit of Johnny on
we'll
that
make
car.
it even cooler. And then I was like, let's make it even cooler and turn it into a truck.
Right.
I don't know if I made it cooler.
Who knew? Joe said, if you can't enjoy your car, don't buy it. I've been toiling over my 1850 Pontiac. It's probably a 1950 Pontiac for 4 years now. Still wouldn't give it up.
Yeah, and again, that's so. We're talking, like I said, I would love. Yeah, it's been one of the hardest things about the culture itself, as I've seen cars, and I get it. You dump all this money into it, and then like people who are like, oh, with the baby diaper, and I guess that's why I'll never own a really, really nice car, because I just don't think I could. I don't think I could swoon over it, where it's like, oh my God, I'm not going to take it out because what happens if it gets scratched, or I just put I'm not going to put an $80,000 paint job on something. I just could never do that. So I guess I don't have to worry about ever owning or personally building a show quality car, because I'm like,
that is not to say that we do not have the ultimate respect for those people that
that
do it, because these are gorgeous cars.
I do.
Gorgeous cars.
I do. I get it, because it's a lot of money in them.
It's just not you.
But for my personal taste, that's why I'd be.
Is it your taste or your budget? Like if you had a bigger budget, would you do the?
Okay. So yes, let's play that game. So if I had, how much are we talking?
Say $60,000.
Whoa, that's not a very big budget.
It's not
$60,000. What would I do with $60,000? I'd buy six $10,000 hot rods. Or it's really what
we'd need a new house first with the garage.
I would buy three 10,000, and then like other ones that are like, what if we did this and what if I've always thought that. Like as I've seen, $100,000 car, I'm like, you know how many really interesting ones you could buy for really cheap, and not that they wouldn't be any cooler, but I don't know.
Totally
personal preference,
a Johnny Jalopy opinion here, guys.
Absolutely, and a personal preference, and I'm not downing anybody. Again, if you have the means to do, I'm the guy on the sidelines that's a little bit jealous, that sees it and goes, I wonder what that's like. But I like getting in, there's a part of me that goes with mine and go, I wish I had like $10,000 more that I could put that I could get in a car where you just start it up, and not that you're not worried about it, but it's it's a little better quality.
Part of the fun is worrying about it.
But I'm just saying, listen, as I'm trying to figure out a new project, a car, it would be great, that the next one is not where, in second gear, we're sputtering a little bit and runs a little bit better and, handles a little bit better and is maybe in a little bit better condition kind of thing. It would be great. So then we have a fun little toy, and then we have a really cool hot rod.
Right. George said the worst one ever. A guy bought a Willys coupe took a Willys coupe that was pinstriped by Von Dutch. It even had the flying eye on the deck lid, and he sanded it down.
And again, so there's the hard part. So I get it though. So imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine. See, pinstripe and paint jobs I get. Like someone that say had a car and had like the Watson fade, right? Watson. Amazing painter. But then goes, I think the paint job is really cool and the car is cool, but I want to make it my own.
Right.
And then they decide to get rid of that paint job and put a different. I kind of get it.
Yeah.
I kind of get it. But like you said, it's all on taste. It's your car. You do with you. I will stand by that. It's your car. Do what you want.
You do you. Brad Palmer said, saw number 5 board track racer in a Billy Lane commentary bike show. Did you and Rusty Russell, in my mind being Aussie, have something to do with the build? I think he's talking about you and Ian and a number 5 board track racer.
No, no. Billy Lane's is doing a cool thing right now with Sons of Speed, and big fan of what they're doing. And I was my company is actually a co-sponsor. The company I work for is co-sponsor of that series, the Sons of Speed.
Are they doing it again this year?
They are. Well, they've been doing it. They've been having multiple races. So out at Ormond Beach or Raceway or whatever. It's a great show if you get an opportunity, and there's a Sons of Speed event near you. Please go to it. It's really cool. Very great access to the pits and all those kinds of things. A few more bucks, and it's really cool. Billy Lane's attitude towards it, and Richard Petty is involved, and it's a really cool, really cool motorcycle event. So if you get an opportunity, go check it out. Real vintage motorcycle racing, no joke.
Bob Randall's joining us. He said the louvers look good. Bob, who you got the tailgate from, right?
Yeah. And we were talking about the one that brought me the cool Christmas gift of the VW bugs, and I'm sure those are things are worth some money, but I'm gonna pop them open and play with them
next Christmas. Pop said, "Don't sell Raquel. I had a Christine once, 58 Coronet, sold it. I kicked myself in the ass. Raquel needs a chop top. Ian will help you."
Yeah,
we talked about that last week. He's
got a lot of stuff going
on. We were it was on its way over there at one point, and we pulled the plug on it just because of his situation. It was right around the time of his move. We didn't want him responsible for moving something else.
Yeah, so. It's tough.
Ferg says, obviously getting wrecked or just scratch sucks, but it gives me an excuse to tear it apart and repaint it again. See, this guy loves to be in the garage, so he doesn't get upset when stuff like that happens. He's like, oh, weekend project.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So there's different style of collector. Bob is a great example of somebody who drives his cars. And you go, wow, that's really cool. And is working on them, and they're in the shop, and cars rotate, and this one goes and will hang back in the storage area for a little bit, but then there's a whole new group that gets driven around to different shows and things, and all kinds of that's if I as a person like that's the kind of collector I aspire to be, is one of those kind of guys where it's. But again, even the other guys in the Michigan group all have these from Shaggy's cool hot rod all the way up to the high end street rod stuff, or not street rod, but like pro street stuff that the Clay's got, and Ron's got these really sick, basically race cars, and they're driving them. They're not sitting and they baby their cars in the midst of they really take great care of them. But they drive the hell out of them.
What I thought was cool was we first met Scott Ferguson at Autorama last year, and he brought that car to the show, and it was done, but it was primered.
Yeah.
And he was
Well,
just as proud of it then.
Done as a in the
Right.
project mode is done,
Right.
which means it was done enough to get to that
To
show,
get it to that
but
show.
not done.
But he was just as psyched about it at that show
Yeah.
as he was when we saw him at Frankenmuth, and it had the paint job and it was more finished than
And
it
he's
was.
just as excited as soon as he brought it home and then sanded that paint
Sanded
job
it
off,
down.
and then just is either fixing or doing more to
He's
it or
got
whatever.
something new that we
Yeah.
will see at Autorama this year.
So it's
So
cool. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
just loving it along the way. Howard Pierpont said many listening tonight have owned many cars that were either not finished or again modified. Indeed.
Yeah.
Jay said the louvers do look cool for sure.
Hey, thanks so much.
Yeah, a great style idea that you came up with. And
well, I was trying to mimic Model A, Model T, side panels, rear panel. And then I sent kind of the idea to Jim at Hobo's Hot Rod Garage, and he's like, "Oh, let me
see what I can do."
And then was just an amazing, cool dude, and set him up. And I was like, hey, "Can you do louvers?" He's like, "Yeah, let me do that."
Right.
So then he did that, and then he sent me the panels or pictures of the panels and layouts and stuff. And then, so I sent photos this morning to Ian. I'm like, "Hey man, I'm just trying to figure out what's the best attack to add these on there." And he's like, gave me some advice. And so they went in a little different than I had thought of originally doing them, but in the long run, it's gonna work out the best so that they look right. I think
they're going to be
more for my
decorative and
skill
functional.
level of welding too. I think as well.
Yeah,
I think if I was a much better welder, I would have attacked it a little bit differently. But it also keeps they're super strong, like the panels themselves, which. They were flat panels and I had to put a curve in them because the side it has a curve, and so that was fun to try it. And I basically just was like, okay, let me grab the tire and gink, and I matched the curvature. And I'm learning some metal fabrication, people. I'm learning. And I came in probably about an hour and a half or 2 hours after being out there, and I was pretty disappointed because my welds were shit. Hey, they weren't sticking and they weren't grabbing, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And I was about to pack it all up, and then I sat down for 2 seconds, and you're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I'm just frustrated. And you're like,
get back out there.
And I was like, yeah, get back out there. I'm not going to get defeated. So I went back out, gathered my shit, adjusted my heat, turned it up a little bit more, shut the garage door, focused in, and just went for it. And suddenly the weld started working correctly, and I started doing much better. So
yeah, I actually have a merchandise idea for Jamie and Ian.
Oh,
so I think that they need to come up with, how we have our Sketchy Live bracelets, wristbands. They need one that says WWID, kind of like the What Would Jesus Do, but it's What Would Ian Do?
Yeah.
How cool would that be?
If they haven't thought of it already.
Because I'm sure a lot of people rely on the way his brain works. And I love that in the show, he explains what's going through his head.
Hey, maybe we'll
and how he comes up with those ideas.
WWJD. Not Jesus, it'd be Johnny.
It's too close.
I know.
It's too close.
I know. But then I would say, you don't quit.
Right. Jim McMillan said, I was talking with Ian over the weekend about his t-shirts. Surprise, surprise, me whining about t-shirts. Ha ha ha. Just kidding. But anyway, I mentioned to him that I had quite a few of your shirts, and his response was, thank you for supporting Johnny. He's a great guy. And I didn't even read that yet. And I just gave the idea about merch for them.
Like they need our help.
I know.
Holy cow, their YouTube channel's exploding. So it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, can I real quick before we get any further, because I got a really cool gift today.
Here, I'm gonna put it on you.
I'm gonna stick it on.
Put the camera on you.
By Patrick Cross, who goes by Custom or goes by 51 Flat, which I got. I love that.
Customs by 51
Custom
Flat.
by 51 Flat.
Love it.
Yep. And this is his information.
Nobody can see it.
Yeah, they can.
Barely.
Just because you're blind. This is what he sent me.
How stinking cute. I love it. Now this is Sans louvers because we just added those today. But that was basically how you rolled with it to
how cool
Bug
is
Jam.
That? I have a die-cast metal car
already.
of Kona 5 as a
That
truck.
is so cool.
So super cool.
Love it. Very cool. Rob Earl said Kona is
Thanks, my
is
friend.
getting it on look now. Yeah, it's been great the last couple Wednesdays. Johnny's been off work and we've been able to attend the local show. We were out there again at Diesel this past Wednesday.
Thank you so much, Patrick.
And it was what a fun time. You had a couple people recognize you from the show, a couple older gentlemen sitting there.
It was really cool because I had my Johnny 5 shirt
parked
on.
next to us, by the way.
Parked next to us, and he was looking at my shirt and he goes, "Hey, you know about that car?" I'm like, "Yeah, a little bit." He goes, "You ever seen the show that it was built on?" I'm like, "I've seen it." Now I gotta admit, my beard was pretty scruffy, so maybe I didn't have the iconic, Abe Lincoln I got going on here. But he was like, "Yeah, it's a really cool show. I love that guy, Ian Russell." I said, "Yeah, I'm a big fan myself." He goes, "Yeah, well, so you've watched about?" I'm like, "Yeah, for sure. I've actually was on that show. I'm Johnny Jalopy." And he goes, "Wait, what?" And then he starts talking to me, and he's this really, really kind old gentleman. So he's, I'm talking like this, and he's like, "So I was walking thing." Like,
super soft spoken.
Meanwhile, the guy, the DJ guy, who's a really cool guy, was playing music. You can barely hear him, so I'm barely, and I could barely hear what the gentleman was saying, but I was catching bits and pieces. And then he turns to his son and he goes, "You know who this guy is?" And then he goes,
he only just figured it out.
I don't know. He goes, "You know that show we watch with the dogs?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "That's the guy." He goes, "Huh?" He goes, "Yeah, that's Johnny Jalopy." And then the guy goes, "Oh shit." Meanwhile, I mean, it's hello, it's right.
And you had the Johnny Jalopy hat on. I had on the Johnny Jalopy beanie.
Listen, I'm a cartoon character. You see me out front. I look just like that. That's what I look like. But anyways,
Scott says, "LOL. Have you met Johnny? He's famous."
He's famous.
I have Gary Fisher joining us tonight.
Fish on.
How are you doing, sir?
What is up?
Gosh, Gary Fisher, man, blast from the past.
Still continuing to blast and very much not in the past. He continues.
No,
to
I'm
build.
talking about your SEMA escapade.
This saying is
5 years ago.
Yeah, God, I got to get back to SEMA.
Yeah. Jay Newby said, "And what you're doing is what we all have done. You start with one thing and it turns out a totally different way from what you see. And in the end, it looks cool. Good job."
Thanks.
Lizzie said, "Oh my God, I love it of your bug." Right? How cute is it?
Isn't it neat? Yeah.
Matt Williams said, "I was watching a video that Bad Chad's girlfriend posted a few years ago. Bad Chad was approached by producers to do a build off with Ian." Oh, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Thomas Hutcherson said, "Don't put them in the show. I drive them to the show." Oh, I don't put them in the show. I drive them to the show.
So cool.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about that.
I love it.
Put it
Very
on
cool.
So we can get it on top.
What's that?
Roll it. Let me put it up there. Okay.
There it is. Can't really see it. Can't really see it.
I can see it. God, you're blind. It's
right
there.
What else did we want to chat about? Because we're at an hour already.
Well, I think we can again a great subject. The uncertainty has been found. What an amazing thing. And again, to reiterate, how do we again, Vucky, great question that you sent me I didn't
even see him pop on tonight.
Vucky via email. Sent me, excuse me. Sorry.
What was
ASMR? Sent me that question and was like, "Hey, weird thing is I didn't get a response, so who knows? Maybe I got hacked." But anyways, it's a very interesting question, which is how do we continue to make sure that none of these amazing cars that are getting built fall into the same?
And the answer is it's up to each one of us.
It is up to each
to keep it going.
It goes to the next people coming into the culture too, and that you show interest in, that we have the older guys that like that older gentleman that was there. He built this really cool a tea bucket, and he was telling me and showing me his book, and listen, there are times where you could say, "I'm busy." Take the time to at least listen to these people who are building cars at this level, right? At the beginning level, like a person like me. I don't have a book of pictures and stuff, but I'm not saying listen to me, but I'm saying there are people that go to car shows that have built cars that are very excited. Maybe it's not your flavor. I had a guy a month ago. I was at a stop by a quick car show here locally, had a big book, and he was showing me pictures of what he'd done to the car. Did I like what he did? Not everything, but the guy was building something in his garage,
and he was excited. You don't want to kill that. You don't want to kill that. He
was excited about it, and that's how we continue it. We don't shoot down things, and again, we got listen at this Diesel's a little cruising thing. There's kids with Civics and Kia GTs and twin turbo. I don't get all that stuff, but that's their flavor. I'm not going to poop on them. There was still cool looking cars, and at least they showed up.
Yeah,
and they're driving them.
Yeah.
So hey, keep driving your cars. Keep driving. Keep them alive. Keep going. Keep building. And keep inspiring the next generation and sharing the next generation, and bring your kids, your grandkids to the car shows and the meets and all that stuff.
And in this age of information that we live in, there should be no reason that stuff goes undetected. Keep us in the loop. I mean, they did go to great lengths to keep the uncertainty hidden, it did say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you're trying to keep it hidden, I guess, but let's not lose sight of where these go. Like I know you for one are going to be tracking Johnny 5 until you don't know where it's at.
What I would love to do, like, if I wouldn't feel so bad about having people send funds, I would totally do a what do they call that? A GoFundMe. Get the Johnny 5 back to Johnny. GoFundMe thing. Let's start.
There is that tip available option on PayPal.
We don't have it on ours. Oh, on PayPal. Okay, yeah. But yeah, I would again, nothing against Mark Hayward. I'm forever grateful to Mark.
You just don't understand what this car
to
means
Mark
to
Hayward.
Johnny.
I'm so grateful. He's the one that showed Ian the drawing. Mm-hmm. He's the one that started it all. Nobody would have known who Johnny Jalopy is back then if it wasn't for that. So I'm forever grateful to him for that. And forever grateful that he named the car after me. Mm. He could have named it anything. We were sitting at dinner. I'll never forget it. Down 2 blocks away from Ian's shop. The last night I think I was there, and the last night before they were heading out back to Canada. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna name the name of the car is Johnny 5." And I'm like, "You really want to name it after me?" He's like, "Yeah, that's the name of it, Johnny 5." I go, "Okay." And I'm like, okay, then that's what I'm calling it.
Twisting your arm.
But listen, it's still I would love. It's still my dream that car does not disappear.
Yeah.
Because it has a life on the internet. A couple weeks ago, I saw it in some, and it's so amazing how much overseas fanship shows to it. Especially the VW people, which that was my whole concept when I designed it was, how do you take the hot rod guys and the VW guys who are both passionate about their things,
mash them together?
Yeah. It's the Johnny 5. And I really hoped that car would have this, because again, when we took it to Pomona, people went nuts.
Oh, if you watch the show,
had never seen anything like it. And there's still parts of me. And Ian too, him and I have talked about this multiple times that we've been together. From the time that show ended and we started building other cars. Every time we got together, we had a conversation about the Johnny 5 and wishing that we could get it to look exactly like the picture. Bigger wheels in the back, doing the correct intake for it, doing the correct wheels for it, because when he got the wheels for Space Junkie 2, he was like, man, if we could have put these wheels on Johnny 5, that would have been so sick. I'm like, I know, it would have been just like the drawing. So yeah, every ounce of me hopes that Mark gets it done, and because that was the plan. His plan was to take it to like a Canadian and a show, and like as soon as he got back, and it just didn't make it because The sad part is when we did the reveal, Ian broke the rear end.
Oh.
And so, not on purpose, but he was doing a slide out, and it still looks great to this day on TV. And it broke. And when it got back to Mark's place, he's a project. He's a car guy. He's got lots of projects, and other projects took precedence over it, and still have. And he's moved, and things have happened. So I get it.
Life happens.
But
sometimes.
gosh darn it. If I didn't feel so bad, I'd be like, God, could we do a GoFundMe? Get Johnny Jalopy, Johnny 5 reunited one day.
We will fly to Canada.
I will cry. I never got to drive it.
I know.
I got to sit in it and get made fun of because I couldn't pull plastic off of windows, but I never got to drive it. I got to sit in it. I got to sit in it and pretend I was driving. I never got to drive it.
Joe Lombardo said you are famous, both of you. I tell everyone I had lunch with you guys. Got to do it again. Delarenzo's. Pop said, will you be at the Smyrna for Sons of Speed event this year? Were you invited this year? I know it was like over summer, maybe. So maybe they will contact.
Well, like
you.
I said, they keep having events. It keeps coming back, and they keep doing it. And
you have not been invited.
Not specific. I wasn't really invited. I was working with my company.
That's true.
That was the funniest thing as well. When I went there, working for the company I work for, who co-sponsors the event, and the CEO or COE of the company was standing there.
COE is a cab over engine.
Well, anyways, he came down and he was visiting because he was like, and he was a big guy, a big deal, and my boss goes, hey, check it out. And there was like a crowd of like 4 or 5 people getting my autograph. And he's like, that guy works for us. He's like, what? He goes, yeah, he was on TV on this car building show.
No big whoop.
He's got fans that are here. And there was a bunch of people at that Sons of Speed show that recognized me, and it was great.
That is pretty cool.
It was so cool. Richard Petty and Billy Lane didn't know who the hell I was, but it would have been cool to meet those guys.
Gary Fisher said your build is looking awesome. Keep making it happen. It's your style. Very cool. He said build what you love.
Yes.
I think that's great advice for anybody.
And keep it driving.
And Gary would know because he's been building what he loves. Stuff. Yes. George said I was taught to respect my elders. They are getting harder to find. Now most of my car friends are kids. We hear you.
Yeah.
Ray Haas.
Keep it going.
Ray Haas, which we bumped into this past Wednesday. He was our salesperson for our Jeeps a couple years ago.
And then we saw him out there with this cool
bumped into him at the show.
Barracuda.
He said best thing about building them is driving them for sure.
Yes, and he drives them, and he's got a convertible Barracuda and top down all the time.
Yep, even on a cold night.
Yep,
the other night. All right, guys, we are at an hour 12, so we are gonna let you go. But what a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Hopefully inspiring people.
Johnny blabbered on for 5. Did you even get word in edgewise?
Not really.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Let's talk about something you're interested in. Why are you silent?
Because it's not the time or place.
Hey, we can't talk about that stuff.
So we're gonna get going. Jim said, shoot me a message on what you are looking for and help, referring to your comment. Jim Pollan. Shoot me a message.
Huh.
All right, guys. So we're gonna head out next week on Monday. We'll see. We may be drawn. We may be doing another podcast. It depends on what happens this week in hot rod culture.
Hey, hopefully you guys are enjoying the podcast version of what we're doing. It's fun to talk. I love. Listen, you can't shut
blabbermouth here.
It's fun to talk about this stuff because it's so interesting.
And he cannot do 2 things at once. We know this. So if he's drawing, he cannot talk.
I'm so passionate about this because again, I am the next generation guy too. I continually just love talking to people and learning more about stuff and figuring things out because it's how you get better and it's how you know more stuff, which translates into doing artwork and trying to make it more of realistic of what's being done and stuff like that. So it's really important, but it's important to keep sharing to the next generation. So let's keep the culture living, keep the culture going. Hey, hopefully you had a great time, and we sure appreciated hanging out with you guys here on Sketchy Live, the podcast. I am Johnny Jalopy. That is ity-b. Please head over to johnnyjalopy.com. Don't forget that we sell merch.
We do.
Hats, stickers,
we haven't even
t-shirts.
talked about it at all. There's a ton of art over there.
And this
from
coming
years
month,
past.
this coming month in February, because we're gearing up, trying to get ready for Autorama, we will be doing
merch.
We will be doing a auction of some of the cardboard art I did during Inktober.
Yes.
And some other art that I have laying around.
We're talking original
pieces that you'll have available to purchase. So you can own some Johnny Jalopy
so
original art.
Stay tuned for that. If you're not following us on YouTube and on Facebook, please do, because we will be announcing that. It's usually spur of the moment stuff, guys. I'm going to be honest. So we're looking at maybe like a 3-4 day planning period that we're going to have to get this done. But we got to do it. We need to raise some funds for our trip. Make sure we can get there, and we've got that Johnny Jalopy presence at the show.
Yes.
The Michigan Hot Rodders gang is Southeast Michigan Hot Rodders are geared up and ready for us. They've made a way. They've paved a way for us to be there.
Yes,
we want to make sure we're coming. We are
so excited. I cannot believe my bucket list show of my whole life. Like when I got into loving hot rods and knowing what the Autorama was. The Detroit Autorama was for me in my life, the biggest show.
That's all he talked about when I met him. Yeah.
Was a bucket list thing. And then when we got to go last year, to not only go to the show, but be a part of the show was unbelievable. Getting to meet all of you guys and
the connections, the friendships that have been made.
We are so excited to come back and get to hang out, shake hands, meet people, get to hang out with our Detroit family. That's been the best part of coming out of that whole situation, is we have a whole new friend group, a whole new family group. And
we are in the best area to be in. We are going to be shacking up with Shaggy, Little Daddy Rob.
Well, you know what? They haven't said that kids. Yet, but
no, I think they did. They did say that we're going to be in the same area. I hope so.
Hopefully our beer guy will be there.
Our beer guy. He was pretty cool. Nathan, I think.
Got to make sure you bring some bananas for Uncle Larry.
That's right.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We can't thank you guys enough. Shaggy LeBlanc,
Ron Sedlak, Bob Frizz, the
Fergusons, the Clays, all the whole gang.
Fight Masters, newbies.
All of them.
All y'all. Anyway, we're going to head out.
JohnnyJalopy.com. Don't
Love
forget
you guys.
To go there. Did you hit the brand?
No, I'm on the outro. I'm
cute.
My
Lord and
all right,
mercy.
Guys.
JohnnyJalopy.com. JohnnyJalopy.com to go over there. JohnnyJalopy.com. Did you forget that about JohnnyJalopy.com? It's a really cool place.
I've had the ticker going the whole time.
Hey, like and subscribe. JohnnyJalopy.com. Because we talked about a lot
We got to push ourselves. All right, guys. Have a good one. We will see you next time. Stay.
Hey, don't forget to stay sketchy. We'll see you guys next Monday.
Bye.
Oh, it's so fun hanging out with you.
Bye.
Bye.